Hey guys, today's video is an energy audit. Personally, looking at my energy reset over the next quarter. So if you're new to this channel, hello, my name is Elika. I'm an energy optimization coach and a trusted advisor for purpose-driven leaders who want to have way more energy because you've realized that's what you need to create the biggest impact in this world. So if you are new to learning all about the habits that it takes to optimize your energy in all areas of your life, what are you waiting for? Subscribe so that you can learn about all of the lifestyle hacks that it takes through these videos. Now, today's video, I thought I'm going to go back to what I do a lot in my newsletter, actually, where I share my own personal energy audit and what that looks like. And this is a season for me of looking at health, reprioritizing health. And I always say that you have these different buckets of your life. Like I put them under the pillars that are in my energy reset recipe. But the truth is these pillars, they really represent like the areas of your life that you're gonna always want to prioritize, that you're always juggling. Most people will say that it's work or finances, health and relationships. So I have my 4-pillar framework, which allows me to go a little bit deeper when I'm working with clients. And these pillars are what I therefore audit. Now, whenever I'm trying to, let's say, really take a part of my life to the next level, I double down on one area. And as I always say, how you do one thing is how you do everything. So the truth is, when I double down on one area, I see results in other areas of my life. But I just really know that I just have to be very intentional about how I use my energy. In human design, I'm a generator, I'm a 4-6 generator. So I take the big picture and then I go and use my resources in my network to really double down my energy on the thing that I need to focus on. And as generators have this abundance of energy, we have to make sure that we're very intentional about how we use it, because it's very easy for us to scatter it all about. And as somebody that had not 1 but 2 burnouts, I know that all very well. So this season, I'm prioritizing my health. I'm 43. I refuse to buy into the age means that we are degrading. Everything goes downhill from here. But what I do know is that there's a compound of habits and behaviors that reflect in the body. And so one of the things that I did in this year is coming into 2026, I wanted to be very, very clear on my data. So I did what I normally do every year, which is full testing and everything, like blood test, gut test. I already have my DNA, which you only have to have that done once, but the DNA testing results, what they're actually looking for in the results, that has changed. So I optimized there as well. And I did what I now introduce my clients to, which is quantum medicine, which friggin' love this. It's a whole new world of medicine that's going to allow us to not just look at what does the biology say, what's actually in the cells, but what is manifesting in the cells. And most of you that are listening to this are going to be very new to that. But as somebody that runs a concierge service for the top 10%, I have to stay on top of the latest things in terms of health, well-being, and business, right? So quantum medicine for me was really bringing in what I already was really supported by in learning more about quantum physics and how energy is really optimized and the depth of what it means to really be stepping into a field of energy that surrounds us all the time and optimized. Before I digress, I will just say that I did my quantum medicine report and it was really beautiful to confirm a lot of things that I felt were like open windows for me and give me clarity on where I was going to be intentional in my focus on my own energy and my own health in this quarter. So there were 3 real areas that I would say that came out of my own quantum report. And that was, one was hormonal. And no surprise, I know so deeply in following my 28-day cycle how my hormones fluctuate, and I track it and I monitor, and I'm just so self-aware about my own body, which is a big part of what I do. You can generally tell when a woman is estrogen dominant, because when you look at her, typically, when you look at her, she's going to be very kind of like hippie or carrying a lot of weight around that lower body. And if you think about estrogen as that hormone that is, it gives us a lot of drive, it gives us communication. It also actually is an appetite suppressant, which a lot of people don't realize, but it does give women our curves as well. And so I know my own genetic pathways. I know the women of color and the history that we have. And I know that hormonally, there are things that I have to work with that are also inherited. And what I got clarity on was not that I had estrogen dominance, but that I was actually needing to optimize for estrogen clearance. And I think there are so many women out there that have this as something that they need to optimize and they're not aware. So estrogen dominance is literally that you have so much estrogen and it's dominating, you're overproducing dominant or estrogen. But estrogen clearance is really about the estrogen recirculating through the body and not going through the normal detox pathways, which typically would obviously be supported by the liver. And when the estrogen is recirculating back in the body, then there is a clearance support that you need to give the body. And I do that through optimizing gut, and also optimizing the liver. But it was really reflective to me that there was a lot more support needed there. And I think that even though I do a lot of liver support, I've really doubled down on that. So what I'm doing for this particular area, and I'm sharing this because some of these things that I'm doing are going to be so good for you in just energy optimization generally, but I'm giving you exactly why I'm doing it. So what I'm doing there is, firstly, I'm taking something that's very supportive of clearing excess estrogen in the body, which is broccoli sprouts. Now, if anybody has any issues with anything that is detox supportive, i.e. you need to remove any excess toxins in the body. For example, you may have been drinking too much alcohol. You may be noticing that you're having a lot of breakouts. You may have stubborn body weight. Then of course, detoxing excess toxins that the body's holding on to is going to be really supportive of that. So I'm taking broccoli sprouts, and broccoli sprouts contains a component called sulfurate, and that really helps in the detox pathways. So I'm taking that. I'm also doing my castor oil packs. And so what I do is I cover my liver with castor oil, and I'm actually covering my abdominal area, especially my lower abdominal area where my pelvis is. I'm covering that with castor oil in the evenings, and then I've actually got a pack that's specifically made for this. It's feels like a thin blanket, and you could do this with cling film, but I wrap that all around my abdominal area and my liver, and then overnight that castor oil is fantastic at really drawing out the toxins from the body. So I'm doing the castor oil wraps. There are some supplements that I'm taking, but to be honest with you, I don't really feel like the supplements that I'm taking are anything to specifically optimize this area. The only one I would say is I have increased my dosage of vitamin D. What I have noticed is women of color, especially with melatonin, we really need high dosages of vitamin D. And in this particular area, one of the reasons why I am making sure that I clear any excess estrogen is that I have 2 small fibroids, which another very, very common ailment with women of color. And I feel like I did very well in my life to go without fibroids, because I have a family history and a genetic pathway of a woman of color having fibroids, cystic endometriosis, really a lot of issues around the womb is very common in women of color. And I think because of my lifestyle, I've avoided that. Now, at 43 years old, I haven't had my own children. And when you have children, you do go for a period of time without producing excess estrogen. So it makes sense for me that my body never really had that 9 months, let's say, of clearance naturally of estrogen. And so I think for me, this is not medically proven, but I'm a very intuitive person and I know how to connect the dots. I think for me, that would be just vulnerably a reason why a woman of my age that has lived such a predominantly healthy lifestyle for the last 10 years or more, very intentionally healthy, would still struggle with, and I don't think I'm struggling, but clearly it's not something that I feel should be in my body. So yes, you can have operations to remove fibroids, but as you know, I believe the body knows how to heal, and if it's supported, if there is an ailment, if there is a misalignment in the body, there is always a reason why. And this, to me, the excess estrogen running through my body makes sense for this. So I'm increasing my vitamin D because vitamin D has also been connected to helping to shrink fibroids. And so I see the pattern. You see the pattern of vitamin D, women of color needing more vitamin D, fibroids being linked to vitamin D being linked to shrinking fibroids. All of these things are really supportive for me. They're all connected, and so there is no harm in this. I already have done a lot of research around the recommended dosages of vitamin D, and I find them very low. And when I look down the route of doctors that really focus on holistic healing, functional medicine, and can really go deeper in the studies of vitamin D, they all recommend much higher dosages than the medical industry, the standard medical industry, or at least the government guidelines that are based on population studies offer. So there's a lot there about vitamin D, because I just think it's just such a really supportive supplement for so many things that I think people haven't even considered. So that's what I'm doing around the estrogen clearance. Then I think that particular area for me, the abdominal area and the womb and the pelvis, that pelvis congestion, this was another area that I really wanted to focus on. So what I'm doing there is I'm focusing on pelvic congestion and therefore drainage, releasing from that area. So it's funny that I'm saying this and I'm actually thinking about something that I want to do, and I'm just going to say it, but I haven't done it so far. There is a practice that a lot of indigenous women did called womb steaming that I haven't done. And so if you're familiar with that, or you have an opportunity to, I would recommend women specifically to look into that for this particular area that I'm talking about, which is pelvic congestion. Right. And you can generally feel that like a buildup of pressure around the pelvic area. But what I am doing on this particular thing is I'm doing acupuncture, where we're specifically working on circulation and clearing and detox pathways. And I'm also doing lymphatic drainage. And I really recommend like those Brazilian lymphatic drain massages, or I have a specialist that I'm working with, she's a trained physio, but she specializes in lymphatic drainage, and I'm actually going for manual massage and manual so she will literally massage from head to toe all the lymph nodes around the body. But we're really particularly working on this area of pelvic congestion, and so I'm really enjoying that as well. Now, let's move to the third area that I'm working on. The third area that I'm particularly working on is I have a genetic pathway for sympathetic dominance. That means the stress dominance, the stress zone. So my body's natural state is to be perceived that there is stress. Now, again, I like to say that I know my own genetic pathways, my own ancestral background. I'm 3 generations away from slavery. Black women have been suppressed for so long. But the truth is, many of you will know that there are things in your lineage that you may have inherited that you just sense from looking at the patterns and behaviors of your family. And for me, even before I had my genetic pathways, read to me, I had felt this. Like, I feel like I have a body that is always on surveillance mode. Like if there is something happening, I will pick it up even before I'm in the room, So it's no surprise for me that, when I looked at my pathways, I had a stress dominant pathway, you could say a stress metabolism. And so what I'm really doing here is I'm going, what else would look like rest and relaxation for my body? Because the truth is, I live a life that is really not stressful. It has been over 5 years now of me living what I would describe as a very peaceful life. I have been very fortunate to really shift my mindset to believe that was possible for me, and to accept nothing else but peace and harmony and joy. And yes, I still experience challenges like everybody, but my response to them is very different because I practice what the experience of peace feels like in the body. So that means that I have a daily meditation practice. It means spending a lot of time in nature. It means doing breath work. So if you're somebody like me and you do all that, plus yoga twice a week, and just a job that really feels fulfilling, it's hard to think about what else can I do, right? Being honest. And I say this because I know a lot of high achievers will be thinking, God, I do so much already. But I think this is a deepening of my practice of surrender. So this is a deepening that I'm giving my body everything that it needs. And sometimes the body will shift something that it needs to shift in its own time. And you cannot look at it as mechanically fixing. So the first thing I'm doing is making sure my mindset for stress dominance is that there is nothing broken. But if there is something that it needs, I need to be really listening into that. And so there were a couple of things that came out of that thinking and just that surrender. And two were, I love heat. Like, I feel like when my body is in the sun, again, I talked about my melatonin needs and vitamin D, and I can feel like the sun for me, it just feels like, all I can say is it feels like the most nourishing meal that I can give to my body. Sunlight for me on my skin, and I'm living now in a culture, and we lived before in Singapore, two cultures that really are a bit avoidant of the sun because they have so much access to it. And yet I know that I'm always that person that's just like, oh my gosh, give me sunlight. So I was looking at all of the longevity and biohacking tools available, and two of them have been really calling to me, and that's the sauna. So I'm now doing 15 minutes of sauna 3 times a week, and it feels so beautiful. And there was another thing that came out of the sauna that was unexpected. In the sauna, I cannot take my mobile phone in. It just cannot take the heat. So I have given myself a dedicated 15 minutes. I mean, even when I meditate, I still attach myself to, I use a device that monitors my brain when I'm meditating to allow me to go deeper in my meditation practices. But I'm still using Bluetooth and technology. In the sauna, I lay in the sauna and I just get into this deep meditative state, and I just focus on my breath, and I focus on the areas of my body where I can feel maybe imbalances, and I send light to that area. And so I realized that even if the sauna isn't necessarily something that I need, the practice of having a sauna for 15 minutes 3 times a week is also the next level of just peace to a body that has been stress dominant. The second thing I'm doing is infrared, and I'm so excited about this because I've been doing it now for 5 days in a row, and I'm having phenomenal results. Listen, I'm going to be true with you. I, yesterday, had the most beautiful day. My partner took me for one of my weekly surprises that takes me to, and we had the most gorgeous day. We had, but honestly, to me, it's a surprise. It was all unexpected. But we had a beautiful buffet breakfast at a 5-star hotel, and I am the girl that doesn't like to do buffets because I have no self-control. I know me, so I avoid it. So, but we had a beautiful buffet breakfast, and then we were just having such a lovely time at the beach and just at the pool area of the hotel and just relaxing. And then I slept. I just slept for maybe a good 1 hour, just slept in the sunshine. And then late in the afternoon, we went to another place, another 5-star hotel, and he'd booked us afternoon tea there. And if you can imagine, when you have breakfast buffet, you're not expecting afternoon tea. But I was like, go figure, he has just done such a beautiful thing in like thoughtfully, intentionally crafting such a gorgeous day for us. And the afternoon tea, like now typically when you have English afternoon tea in England or places that I've been, it's very savoury. Even like the scones are still savoury. And then there's a few little nice desserts afterwards. This one was like literally the first course was like 3 trays. And in those trays, like half of one of the trays was sandwiches, the rest was cakes. That was the first course, then there was 2 other courses. So you can imagine, I was indulgent. It had one of the best pastry chefs in the world had crafted the menu there. He had his signature hot chocolate, I had that. I went all out. I was fully in my 80-20 rule, I was fully in my 20. I had really good fun and just enjoyed the food and the moment and the experience. So today, when I woke up, was expecting my metabolism to be burning a lot of sugar, and I measure that using a device, Lumen, which you'll see either on my website or below. Now, with that device, I measure if my body is burning fat or sugar in the mornings, and it was burning fat, and at the highest level. Now, I know there can only be one reason for it. I'm on my 5th day of the infrared. And when I got in last night, and another good thing is I did finish eating because it's afternoon tea. I did finish my last meal was like at 5 o'clock. And then I did infrared that night when I got home. And I honestly know that these results that I am getting of my body being in the fat burning zone so quickly is a result of optimized metabolism through the infrared. And I genuinely wanted to do the infrared because I genuinely wanted to heal the body at a deep cellular level. And if there was stress dominating in any of my cells, I wanted those cells to receive true healing.
And I think that this is a beautiful side effect. So that is all the things that I'm doing, all my normal tricks and habits. I will make sure that I talk about those whenever I share my monthly energy audit with you, which I share that in my newsletter. My newsletter is the place where I'm the most vulnerable, and I share the most about what I'm working through in optimizing my energy in all areas of my life. So you'll see the details of my newsletter in the description box below, so make sure you subscribe to that. But today I just wanted to come on and just really tell you what I am working as somebody that has spent, a good decade really working on how do I optimize in all areas of my life through the lens of looking at things energetically, like looking at my physical body and what I want to feel energy-wise, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, looking at my personal life and what is an energetic match, and looking at my professional life and how can I create the biggest impact through the energy that I bring to the world. So these are all the things that I do, and have been doing for the last decade. And so I wanted to just share what that looks like now for me, and hopefully you've picked up some little tips that may be suitable for you, because even though I've given you 3 particular things that I've been working on for myself, a lot of these things have so many health benefits that you could apply those to any ailments that you particularly have. And if you have a question on this, I would love to hear, or just your thoughts or reflections. So leave those in the comments before. And if you feel that this video did give you value, give it a like so more people can hear about this. Now, you know the rule: like, subscribe, and share if you want. And I will see you on the next one. Take care.